This week's episode is about the inspiration I got from the most unlikeliest book that I have read on holiday this summer. Stay tuned to know what it is. Hello, it's Emma Mills here and welcome to episode 194 of MiTV. I love to get inspiration from other people and I do this by reading, my boyfriend does it by watching a million YouTube videos. We all take information in different ways, but what I do love is when somebody recommends to me something I absolutely have to watch or read. So today, that is what I'm doing for you. Now, I'll be honest, this book that I bought and was recommended and read, which is awesome, I definitely didn't have high expectations for. So the book is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. So, I mean, my stereotyped view of Matthew McConaughey was like the sexy, topless, shirted image of Matthew on the beach in one of those rom-coms that he was really, really famous for. And that was like his longest stint of films, was all of the sexy rom-com, basically, easygoing films. I know that, before anybody shouts at me, I know he's done lots of other amazing things since, and there's a big part of that in his book of how he changed Hollywood's perception of him to start to get the gritty stuff like Dallas Buyers Club, True Detective, Lincoln Lawyer, like loads of really great films he's been in. So and also Hollywood actors, they definitely wouldn't be my first choice. I'm a bit more like, I like somebody that's built a business, like that's just the kind of thing I like reading about. So I was a bit more dubious about reading this, but I had also seen lots of podcasts and videos with him on it. He was obviously doing the rounds of promoting his book, but it wasn't just a promotional thing, in that this is really, really worth getting. And I have got, for those who don't want to go away and buy the book, I've got my 3 key takeaways for you. Takeaway number 1 is, and this might not be to everybody's taste, and it has taken me a long time to even do this once or twice a week, is journaling. Now, the whole book was created by Matthew McConaughey taking all of his journals from when he was 14 to 50 when he wrote this book, was taking everything, going away on a trip and reading through his life's musings and thoughts. Now, I know people can have a preconceived idea of journaling, of like, you know, it's not just like Dear Diary. The more I probably read or listen to something about journaling nearly every day, or at least every other day, because I know all the benefits of it and I can't get into that swing of it. I'm trying. In fact, I've bought 10 million of these now. This is my latest little notebook to attempt journaling in. Bought it from a marketplace in Bruges. So I'm attempting in this. But Matthew McConaughey, so his overriding lesson in this is that, I mean, not only did he have everything that's happened in his life, and you know, I'm sure there are those times where you think, oh gosh, I've forgotten about that, what happened there? But journaling is like a really well documented solution to dealing with stress in life, anxiety, depression, and lots of mental health benefits. But literally the day-to-day of not being able to figure things out, wondering why this has happened, like, if you are somebody that lets things sit on you and you don't just kind of stop thinking about them, or you're going to carry them with you, journaling is a really awesome place to articulate how you're feeling, why you're feeling. And I think one of my things that's always put me off journaling is like, gosh, it's another thing on my list that I need to do. Like, I'm going to go find a time to start writing about what happened yesterday. I'm taking a much more fluid approach to it now. And when I'm getting the urge for it, and then it's like, there's things happened and I want to kind of just work through a little bit more, because what journaling does make you is way more self-reflective. So something might happen, not just business, life, something might happen today and you're like, wow, well, you might react to it quickly, and that might be like a bad emotion that you react to it. But actually, if you spend time to, okay, well, this happened, why might that have happened? What were they possibly thinking? What could I have done better? Journaling allows you to like reduce stress by just like processing your thoughts, getting it out onto paper, kind of, it's almost like talking to someone, I guess, but actually getting it onto paper and spending a little bit more like deep thinking time as to why that happened, how could I do that differently, like what's a solution, that something I need to change or I could have done in a different way. It enables you to just actually do some proper deep thinking about things that are happening in your life. Journaling is also really awesome for setting and achieving goals. Like every single thing Matthew McConaughey wanted. He did write in his journal or diary at some point something he aspired to be. And one big thing, which I'll come on to next, Matthew McConaughey isn't a very materialistic person in the grand scheme of things. He's very much aware of actually what is bringing me happiness, what is bringing me success. But not to digress off the point of journaling, the thing about journaling is that there are scientific studies to show that it is a really great intuitive way for you to work with yourself on how to solve problems in your own life, how to carry less stress about things. It makes you way more self-aware. And so my number one out of green lights was not only that it does also give you a really great place to like celebrate the highs, celebrate the lows. You can look back at things that have happened that you might have forgotten about, and they're obviously recorded in your own thoughts and musings, but it gives you a private place to be way more self-aware about what happens day to day and how that might impact you and how you can solve it going forwards. Lesson number 2 is that can't is a very, very bad word. And actually, he talks about how when he grew up, can't was like, it was a word you got punished for in the McConaughey household. Like literally, his dad would punish him if he said he can't do this or he couldn't do that or he couldn't find a way to do something. It's actually a lesson I also learned from my boss that I had before I started this business. If there was one guy that showed me there's a way to get over things, under things, around things, be resourceful, ask people around you for advice, help. If you ask, you just don't know if people can help, and you won't get if you don't do it. So quick one, but literally in his mindset, there is no such thing as can't. There may be we might need to do this in a different way, but if there's something that you want to achieve, you want to solve, there is always a way around it if you are truly resourceful. And the third biggest lesson I took from green lights is delaying gratification. So this is not just about, well, it can be about having that extra glass of wine, it can be about skipping gym day, it can be about not journaling today, it can be about not having that conversation that's hard when you know you should be having it. But in his book, Matthew says that if you can project into your future tomorrow, next week, 10 years from now. So before you make a decision about doing something or not doing it, or buying it or having it or not doing it, whatever it might be, just have a little chat with yourself and ask, what does my future self think about this decision I'm making now? So for example, like the easiest example is if every day I have the extra slice of cake and the chocolate bar, 10 years from now, if I'm doing that every single day and each day thinking it's just okay, there will be a compound effect of in 10 years time, I'm probably going to be a little bit heavier than I am now. If I'm consistently buying the thing that looks shiny and new and that I want, is in 10 years from now my financial situation, business situation, ability to do things going to be impacted by all the little things I chose to say yes to every single day? Absolutely it is. And so delaying gratification, and actually when you read the book, he's a very, very highly paid person. There is no doubt about that. He's not lived a particularly over-the-top materialistic life, apart from one stint in a hotel in LA where he lived there for 10 months. That sounded quite bougie. Apart from that bit, he's actually lived very much a life of taking himself off in an RV with his dog, traveling, rehearsing scripts, and just living in different places, relatively unknown in these different places, and living a very normal life. He is not somebody that's actually lived the whole kind of Hollywood continual lifestyle. And so he's very aware of actually what does success mean to me? Is it the extra zeros in my bank account? Is it being married? Is it having people around me that love me? Is it going to the latest party? And I guess the journaling helps that process as well. But one of the biggest things that he does is always asks about, well, if I'm going to have that extra thing today, if I'm going to buy that thing today, if I'm going to say no to that, what does my future 10-year self, what would they say to me now? Would I have been in a better position if I'd done the harder thing, delayed the purchase? And so I think that's just a really, really amazing life lesson to think about when you go, do you know what, skip it, I'm going to snooze the alarm tomorrow and not go to the gym, I'm going to actually not stick to my diet this week and have the glass of wine tonight because I'm feeling a bit stressed. All those little things about actually in 10 years what would Emma have liked me to do today? And I just thought that's a really, really awesome life lesson. There's so much other good stuff in this book. I just highly recommend a copy, buy it, Audible. It's a great one to listen to, and it is him, like when he's writing, like you imagine it in his voice. It's a very, very personal book of all of his life lessons. So Green Light, Matthew McConaughey, definitely one for your book list this week. I hope today's episode helps you to get your head out of the dirt, into the delayed gratification clouds, and I'll see you next week for episode 195. See you then. Bye bye.